This morning, Sean Diddy Combs walked into court knowing that what happens today could change the rest of his life. No cameras, no flashy entrances, just him, a letter, and a judge who holds the power to decide his future. In that letter, Diddy didn't mince words. He admitted to his past mistakes. He wrote, "I take responsibility for my past wrongs. These last 2 years have been the hardest of my life. If you let me go home to my family, I will not let you down. I will make you proud."
So later this morning, rapper Sean Diddy Combs is due back in court for sentencing on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. And we are learning the rapper wrote a letter to the Manhattan judge who will decide his fate, begging for leniency, saying, quote, "I take full responsibility and accountability for my past wrongs. This has been the hardest 2 years of my life. If you allow me to go home to my family, I promise I will not let you down, and I will make you proud." Attorney and president of American Frontier Strategies, Mehek Cook, joins me now. Mehek, good morning. It's great to see you. So prosecutors are pushing for an 11-year minimum sentence. His lawyers are basically asking for time served. So what do you think his sentence is ultimately going to be today?
Carly, it's great to be with you. Look, I think the Diddy trial has been very fascinating to watch. The fact that the jury only delivered 2 convictions out of the 5. What the prosecution is arguing is just because somebody is a celebrity doesn't mean that they deserve leniency, and a minimum of 11 years should happen. And of course, the defense is saying, look at Sean Diddy Combs. He doesn't have any priors. He is committing and showing that he is able to rehab in prison. He's doing classes for a lot of the inmates. And at the end of the day, if I'm sitting back and looking, I think the judge is going to balance and look at between 3 to 6 years, because you have to look at the seriousness of the crime, which is transporting individuals for prostitution, but also acknowledge that there was a split jury in this case. We didn't have a slam dunk. So I think the judge is going to look at the seriousness of the crime, the aggravating factors, rehabilitation, and then whether Sean Diddy Combs is a risk to the public.
Yeah, and so we have the letter from Sean Diddy Combs to the judge. We're also hearing that while he didn't testify during his trial, he is going to make a statement in court today to try and mitigate his sentence. So that's one thing. But on the other side, Cassie Ventura also wrote a judge a letter saying that she deeply fears for the safety of her and her family if Diddy is released. So how much does the judge take both of their statements into consideration when deciding what sentence Diddy will ultimately get?
I think the judge is going to look at both of these statements. The fact that Sean Diddy Combs is now finally showing some remorse, the judge is going to definitely weigh that in, because a lot of the prosecution statement was that he's not showing any repentance. So this is going to weigh deeply on the judge. The other thing is, in the amount of time that Sean Diddy Combs was sentenced, were there any aggravating factors? Did he actually pursue Cassie Ventura? And the evidence today, at least in court, I didn't see any. So I think that while the judge is going to look at Cassie's letter, I don't know if it's going to weigh heavily in terms of a hefty sentence for Combs.
Okay, so there's also a development in another case in South Carolina that we need to talk to you about. South Carolina's Attorney General is now urging local prosecutors to seek the death penalty against Logan Federico's alleged killer after her father made this emotional and gut-wrenching testimony on Monday. Listen to this.
Think about your child coming home from a night out with their friends, feeling somebody come in the room and wake them and drag her out of bed, naked, with her hands over her head, begging for her life, begging for her hero, her father, me. Bang! Dead. Gone.
Words that no parent should ever have to say and relive the final moments of his daughter's life like that. Now, the suspect in this case was arrested 40 prior times before he allegedly broke into this home that Logan was staying in with her friends and apparently ripping her out of bed and shooting her at point-blank range. The local prosecutors, though, they appear to be reluctant to go for the death penalty right now. Do you think that this is a death penalty case?
Carly, I absolutely do. Look, what happened to Logan Frederico is horrific. 153 days later, this system needs to look and value justice and figure out what the crime was, what the data is showing us, and then go for the death penalty. And I stand with the Attorney General in South Carolina today because stating when you have a murder plus a burglary, that qualifies for the death penalty. So the fact that there's bureaucratic delays and the prosecutor today is dragging his feet, I think the Attorney General must step in if the death penalty is not on the table. This is the only way this father will get justice. And I'm tired of these soft on crime policies. The fact that this man was let go after almost 39 arrests and so many felonies tells you that our system is broken, and the only way to deliver justice today is to make sure that death penalty is on the table.
Yeah, she was a beautiful girl who should still be alive today. And Stephen Federico is saying now that he thinks it's absolutely fantastic that the South Carolina Attorney General is pushing for the death penalty. I know it's not how the system works, but I think that the parent's opinion and matters like this should matter above all else. Meg, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
Think about that for a second. A global music icon standing in front of the court pleading for mercy. Prosecutors, on the other hand, are pushing for at least 11 years behind bars. His lawyers, they're asking for time served. One side says punishment. The other says redemption, and now the judge must choose between sending him home or locking him away for years. This isn't some small legal matter tucked in the back pages of a newspaper. These are serious charges, including transporting people for prostitution. The verdict here could set a tone for how the legal system handles powerful figures. Later today, Diddy himself will speak in court. His words could tip the scale. And Cassie Ventura has already sent her warning. In her letter, she told the judge that if Diddy walks free, she fears for her family's safety. Let's lay out the facts clearly. Diddy is back in court today. He's written a personal letter to the judge. Prosecutors are pushing for 11 years. His legal team wants time served. He says he's owning up to his mistakes. He says he's changed. Cassie Ventura wrote her own letter. She says she's afraid. The judge will read both letters. The court will hear Diddy's statement, and the final sentence, it could be announced very soon. That's where things stand right now. When the hearing opened, the courtroom fell quiet as Diddy's letter was read aloud. Line by line, he expressed regret. He pleaded for leniency. He said these past 2 years have changed him and promised to make the judge proud if he's allowed to go home. Then, the prosecution took the floor. They made it clear they want an 11-year minimum sentence, no exceptions, no special treatment. Next came the defense. They argued that Diddy has no prior criminal record, that he spent his time in custody working on rehabilitation programs, even teaching classes to other inmates. They said he's made progress, that he's earned a second chance. A legal analyst broke it down simply. The judge will weigh 3 things. 1, the seriousness of the crimes. 2, how much Diddy has truly rehabilitated. 3, whether he's still a risk to the public. And let's not forget the charges themselves. Transporting individuals for prostitution. That's not something the court takes lightly. Out of 5 charges, remorse and letters. There's public safety to consider. Being famous doesn't buy leniency, and that message came through clearly during the hearing. While Diddy's team stressed his efforts to change, the prosecution kept bringing the conversation back to one point: the gravity of the crime. Now, listen closely. A legal analyst predicted the sentence could land somewhere between 3 to 6 years. Why? Because it's a tug-of-war between rehabilitation and the seriousness of the offenses. And at the center of that battle sits one judge, holding both sides of the scale. But the moment that stuck with everyone came straight from Diddy's own mouth. His voice didn't shake. His words were clear. "If you let me go home to my family, I will not let you down. I will make you proud." For a brief moment, the courtroom froze. Every eye was on the judge. Every ear caught those words. And now, the final decision rests entirely in the judge's hands. As of now, no sentence has been handed down. Diddy's statement and those 2 letters, his and Cassie Ventura's, will play a huge role. The next hearing is expected soon, and everyone, inside and outside that courtroom, is waiting to see which way this goes. For now, that's where things stand. The judge will soon decide if Sean Diddy Combs walks out a free man or begins a long prison sentence. His letter, Cassie's warning, and his courtroom words could shape that outcome. Stay with us for the next chapter. This story isn't over yet.